Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today we've got macOS 12.3 with a new little feature that allows us to seamlessly use our keyboard and mouse without having to go, oh, push number 2 and go to that computer, push number 2 and go to that computer on our keyboard and mouse, or just rebind. So we can have one keyboard and mouse to run up to 3 Mac computers, or 2 Mac computers and an iPad, or however we want to do things pretty much. So you do require macOS 12.3 to do this for the Mac side, and to be able to link in your iPad you have to have iOS 15.4 to do this. Now, one thing I did find out is you are limited to only 3 devices. So you can pick a computer and an iPad and probably a phone, I would imagine. I actually have to update my phone yet, so actually we'll check and see if I do have an update for my phone yet. Should have anyways. But anyways, I wouldn't want to do it on a phone regardless, but too small of a screen. But the idea here is to be seamless. And to do this, you need a Wi-Fi connection, of course. And you're also going to need to have Bluetooth as well, because your keyboards and mice are generally Bluetooth on your computer. So you have to have that. It's the only way to go seamlessly. But anyways, so let's fire this up and show you how things work here. So my Mac Mini is going to be my primary system for activating this with, but I can have it active on all my computers regardless. So we want to go here into Display Settings to Universal Control, and then we want to click on allowing all 3 of these to take place. So you have allow your cursor and keyboard to move between my nearby Mac or iPad, push through the edge of the display to connect to a nearby Mac or iPad is option 2, and then of course number 3 you want to also keep active, and that's to automatically reconnect to a nearby Mac or iPad. Now, this is a beta version, as you can hopefully see on the screen. It does show that it's beta on each one of these, which means there's going to be some bugs. So you're going to get drop-offs the odd time. Regardless of how good your internet connection is, you are going to experience some drop-offs. So anyways, let's hit done now. So I've got 3 up here. Now, I did try for a 4th earlier, and what happens is it gives you an error that says you have to drop one of yours in order to use another device. So of course we have both iPads out and both my Macs. And so if we go to add display here, and I want to add Kevin's iPad, for example, which is this one here, which is not part of the list yet. But if I want to add that, it is going to say unable to connect to Kevin's iPad. To connect to Kevin's iPad, disconnect one of your other devices. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So you would just go here, you would select one of these devices, click, and then you would be able to add that other device to linked keyboard and mouse. Now, on any of these down below, the Air or the 2 pads, you can also have mirrored from your system. You can mirror to another display. Now, we've been able to do that for quite some time now for the mirroring part. This is the linking the keyboard and mouse part, which is a little bit different. So, you know, we're going to end up doing something like, well, I'm going to leave these windows open because you're going to see that these things may drop off. But if we move our cursor, yeah, we just lost our there's timing for you. We just lost the MacBook Air. It's like, but it should automatically reconnect. It will find itself again and reconnect. So in the meantime, I guess we're going to have to go to the left. And when we go to the left, we find ourselves over at our iPad. And in there, we can, run our programs, do what I want. Okay, now we're back up. We've got our MacBook Air back up and running. So now we can go all the way to the right. And we're over here on the Air. So let me drag back. This is my songs for AC/DC that I have to relearn. So there's a few songs in here. And I want to copy these over to my Air, right? Now you could do that with a USB stick, but this is so much more convenient. I don't know if it would be, well, it would definitely be faster because you're not using a USB stick from one end to the other, and there's multiple steps to doing that. This is just drag, drop, it's done. So you can do this even with applications, copy them across, that sort of thing, right? So we've done that now, and while we're there, of course, you'll notice that if we click, this goes white up top. Then when we come back here, anywhere that we click we'll make that dark now, and this goes white because it's the active window. It's now the new active window. And I know you can still see me on my screen there. I didn't turn my camera off. But, you know, so that's, you know, you can assign a task to something. So if we were to fire up Logic Pro over here on the MacBook Air, we could get it up and running. And, of course, audio. We could do our stuff in there. But I want to go back to here, and I want to fire up Safari. Okay, but then I want to continue on left. So while Safari's loading up, I'm going to go over here to my iPad, because now I'm going to close my camera app. Okay, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do something else if I want to. So like my guitar chord program. And this is a program where I have, you know, over 30,000 guitar chords available to me throughout the entire fretboard of every different, you know, note, major, minor, diminished, and so on. So it's a fantastic program for guitar players to learn new chords. And you can actually hear a strum of the chord that would be played through. Why isn't it playing through here? It should have played through. I wonder if maybe my volume is turned down. Okay, full blast on the volume. There we go. So my volume was off. Okay, so that's a program for doing that sort of thing. So this is doing a job on the Air over here. This one's doing my surfing. Maybe I want to do some video editing on my iPad for a change. Something I'd probably never do anyways, just because I really don't like doing that sort of thing on my iPad, but people do that. But you can go ahead, you can, you know, start your editing procedure on your iPad, get that on the go, whatever you're going to do, okay? Play around in your Photos app, what have you, okay? Go play a game on your iPad, you can do that too. Now, as far as the rest of this goes, when you're in an active window, then you can actually, you know, type. So apple.com, well, I want apple.ca because I'm a Canadian anyways. But I'm going to go do that. But then I'm going to go over here to Logic Pro, and I'm going to make it my new active window. While that's loading, I'm going to get out of Logic because I don't really need to be in there right now anyhow. So maybe I'm going to go fire up a word processor, you know. And we're going to start going into doing a document. La 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 la. You know, and you'll notice. I mean, I'm not having to do anything except, you know, just go between the screens here. You know, so I want to go check out a Mac computer. I'm actually I'm looking at one of these new Mac Studios. I think they're like really cool. So while that's loading that page, I'm going to scramble back over here. I want to get out of this program. So I'm going to do that, discard changes, I don't need that anyhow, back in here. And of course, I'm going to click on order now, because, no, I'm not going to order anything because I don't have any money. I'm flipping broke now, man. If anybody wants to donate one of these to the channel, I'll do it. I'll put it up against my other Macs and my PC. But anyway, so if we go to the order now link, we should be able to click on that. And in here, we're going to see we got two versions available currently, but we can also do upgrades on either one of them. So starting out at $2,500, we got the new Studio 10 core by 24 core GPU, 16 core neural engine. Not bad. This is the Ultra system, and you automatically start out at an Ultra system for like $5,000 Canadian. Okay? And it doesn't matter if you're in the US or Canada. By the time you figure out the dollar value, it's not that far off really. So in here, of course, we start out at $2,500, but I'm thinking, you know, 10 core CPU, 24 core. That's really, you know, what about if we go just to the 20 by 48? What's that do to our price tag? Well, we're at $5,000 because right there is the exact base level of the other M1 Ultra anyhow. So it's kind of like $5,000, that's a lot of money. What if we kicked it back a notch? So now we're at a 10 core CPU, 32 core GPU and a 16 core neural engine, $3,500. That's actually not too shabby. But, you know, and 64 gigs of memory too at that. That's already set up with 64 gigs. Now you can't get to 128 gigs of memory in this thing unless you go to the Ultra. Then you can get to 128 gig. Otherwise you're jammed between 32 and 64. But you can save $500 and just go to 32. For me, I would never need more than 32 gigs of RAM like ever, so I could actually take the $500 drop there, and then I can take that money and reroute that, and I'm going to put that in. Actually, it comes with a terabyte. Would I be fine with a terabyte? You know what? for everything I would possibly ever run, a terabyte would be more than fine. I don't need to add extra money. But I do want to have a, you know, let's say I want an actual, you know, copy of Logic Pro or Final Cut. Well, I'm only at $3,000. So now I've played with Final Cut. It's not my favorite bag. I prefer DaVinci Resolve or iMovie, but some people like Final Cut Pro, and that's okay. But I prefer, you know, let's buy a copy of Logic Pro, right? So then we got the newest bad version of that kind of deal, right? So we're at $32.78. That's not bad for a box and a power cord, and that's all you're getting. You got no keyboard, you got no mouse, you got no screen. That's the whole idea behind the Mac Minis and the Mac Studios, is you get a box and a power cord and a pretty sticker, okay? And that's pretty much it. We haven't even gotten into the extended warranty, which Apple's now doing the extended warranties. I think it's only on the Ultras. Actually, you know, we should actually continue this. So I'm kind of curious if you can get because they have a warranty now where you can renew it every single year for like until you're dead kind of deal, right? Now I don't want a studio display. I mean, it would be nice. I mean, and besides, it don't cost that much. You know, like two grand Canadian. That's actually not bad for standard glass. But I, as much as I wouldn't mind one, would you like to add Apple Care coverage? Now this is something where we've got to add this to the bag, and then we can add later, but I'm not adding to the bag, okay? But yeah, either way, you know, a studio display, what's an extra $2,000, right? I mean, come on, you know? Now, which one do you want? Well, typical stand, I like to tilt and height. But there's $2,500, right? So now we're up to $5,700. I think we need to quit there while we're ahead. So as you can see, the practicality here is fantastic. You know, because I want to go left. I'm gonna go over here to my iPad and do some stuff here with the keyboard and mouse. You know, if I want to create a folder here, I do a new folder and give it a name. Okay, that's fine. Dump that in the trash can. Don't need it anyways. I'm gonna go all the way to the right. Oh, I dropped off my Mac. See, the MacBook Air dropped off again. It's either the Air or the iPad. One of them is going to drop off, but it'll eventually reconnect, type of thing. Now, the other thing I did notice too, of course, is with our update that we got, it was 5.6 gigs. So that took my hard drive availability down to now 133 gigs from 138 point something on my MacBook Air. So that's a big chunk, which is why I tell people, you know, don't buy a base model Mac with A, 8 gigs of RAM, and B, not with a 256 gig drive. So anyways, we're back over here. So, you know, this AC/DC folder, we can just rename it. You know, it's like instantaneously, like it's that seamless to do this. I mean, how could you ask for more? I mean, what more could you ask for to be this simple? Other than more stability would be fantastic. But you do have to have Wi-Fi, you do have to have Bluetooth active, because your keyboard and mouse both need to be Bluetooth for this to work. And it doesn't matter what keyboard and mouse it is for Bluetooth, as it seems, because I'm running a Logitech MX keys, and I'm running the Logitech MX, well, this is not the Mac Pro version. We had that one and it was junk. This one is fantastic. This is just the MX straight out Master. So the Master 3 is the one for the Mac only version, but this one's dual. But you know, and you can change the order too, of how you want to arrange things for your tiling of this. So you can have them both here. So what happens here is we go over here, and we're on the MacBook Air, and we can't get now down to the other one because we changed the order around in a way that it didn't want it. So we have to do this sort of thing, so they're all in a row. Now if we go to the right, we automatically go to the iPad instead, and if we go all the way to the left, now we come out the right side of the screen on the MacBook Air. So, you know, I mean, I personally like the arrangement of actually having this where I'm here. Now what happens if we are here? What happens here? If we go to the right, we go all the way there to the iPad first, and then we continue on to the right to the Mac Air. Well, that's kind of cool. So we have different arrangements we can do. I'm going to keep it kind of like this. I think we can just put this, I don't think it matters which way. Yeah, we've got there, and to the left. So that's how that program works. And that's the only new program availability within the display panel that I've seen that was added in with the OS update. Now, of course, there was the fact that it's now 12.3, so it is a new OS update. It had a bunch of bug and security fixes and whatever else was part of that update. I really didn't read too much as to what the update all entailed other than obviously this. Now, to get access to this universal control on your iPad, to have that feature installed on the iPad, you must be running iOS 15.4. And the same would go if you wanted to try connecting your phone in, because I'm pretty sure you can do the phone as well, even though it says iPad or Mac computer. It should do the iPhone regardless because it's an iOS device anyways. Because the only difference is it actually has a number pad to make phone calls. Otherwise, all the same features, right? I'll have to try that once I update my phone, and I'll let you guys know if that actually does work with the iPhone as well. Maybe I'll do an update video. Now, of course, under Add Display, so right now I can't put a fourth in there for the seamless thing, but I can take my regular iPad and I should be able to, yes I can use that as an extended display from my Mac. So if I go over and I do this, I'm just over here. And if I continue dragging across this screen to the right, I end up on my MacBook Air. So technically you can have 4 things going on here, right? So, except only 3 of them will be the keyboard and mouse. Okay? So we actually got to get back into, where is it? Right here. It's kind of weird when you got 4 screens going at once here. Okay, so now I've got it's an empty folder. But in here I can do things within the Finder, etc. that are available to me. And I'm going to just dump that back there. Now, if I want to turn that off, all I got to do is click like that, and it turns it right back off. And I'm back to a normal iPad. I can just take that and run. But that's how you would still disconnect these two if you wanted to disconnect one of them. So if I don't want my iPad Air 4 involved, I simply go to the list here, because this says link keyboard and mouse. That's what you can do here. I want to unlink that one, okay, because that's number 2, right? So we unlink that. But oh wait, I want to put my other iPad in because I kind of want that other thing right here. So if we take the other iPad and we put it into the list, it's going to pop up, and of course we need to put it over here. We need to arrange this here. And now when we go over to the right, we have that. We go over to the left. We are now into this iPad instead. Okay, so it's that simple and easy to run this. So this is your little tour. Now, macOS Monterey 12.3 does use a little bit of extra RAM. I did find out by just firing up my Mac and firing up the activity monitor. That's all I did. I let it sit for about a good hour because I was trying to cut a video that wasn't working. So I'm kind of like sitting here trying this video, right? And while I'm doing this, I'm seeing that, you know, as it's just sitting there by itself, it finally cycles up all the programs and stuff that it would be using. And it got up to 4.44 gig of RAM. And which brings us to, you know, this is another reason why I tell people, you know, don't actually buy Macs with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gig SSD drives nowadays, because you're going to run out of SSD. Obviously, like, I don't have a lot installed in my Air, and you guys, if you've been watching my videos on it, you know I don't have hardly anything installed in that thing. And I took almost a 6 gig hit just with that 12.3 update off my drive. So I'm down to 133 gigs left. And that sounds like a big number, but in today's software, that's not a very big number anymore. Okay, so it's kind of like, still sounds big though, yeah, but it really isn't. It's only big when you're running like iOS programs, and even those are getting huge. You know, it's crazy. And the 8 gigs of RAM thing, I mean, we're now using almost 5 gigs of RAM for the OS. That leaves you 3 gigs left over if you have an 8 gig machine, which is not enough RAM to do a lot of stuff. I mean, surfing the internet, sure, but why are you spending $1,300 on a MacBook Air in Canada or $1,000 in the US to surf the internet? I mean, you're not, right? You're wanting to do more. And even though there's a lot of videos out there that say, oh, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah, but you're going into that virtual swap space, and already you don't have a lot of real estate left in your hard drive as it is with that little tiny 256. And you're swallowing up whatever it needs to run that extra software. And it's also very extremely hard on the SSD drive to be used as virtual memory access or swap space for more RAM. It's very hard on them. And this is one of the reasons why people have had them burn out within a year, okay, in their MacBooks, because they went base configuration and thought, nah, I'm good, just use an external drive. No. I'm running a ½ terabyte in my Mac Mini, and I still have over 300 and some odd gigs left, which is quite a bit, but that's only because I took about 85% of my programs off the sucker and dumped them onto external drives, including all my games and other programs. Other than a couple of programs that I need to stay on the internal drive, those get to stay, but everything else has been copied over to 2 external drives. This way I can run and function and still keeping over 300 gigs free, not just for OS updates and stuff, but also Logic, sound files have to update on Logic, GarageBand updates as well, and other programs that should actually stay on the main drive, they need updates too, and yeah, I need space for that. Plus, for my video editing, I need space, right? And not that I'm ever gonna have like 100 gig file to edit, but there are guys who are real serious about editing, which means you need some really big internal hard drives. So, hence, I want a Mac Studio so bad. Anyways, then I can really have some fun. But that is our tour. That's a bit of extra information for you guys. So remember, 12.3 is the only way you get this little toy, and you need iOS 15.4 on your iOS device in order to be able to use it with this new Universal Control app. And just remember, it is still in beta mode. It does obviously have some glitches. So, anyways, that's it. That's all. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments as usual. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.